I think we might actually be able to do this one more weekend, next weekend.
That'd be nice.
I'd love to be out here for our family birthday parties, too. All right, you ready? Why, hello.
Hey there. So, I was talking with one of the guys, dropped off his daughter last night for the birthday, and he was checking my contact in his phone, and he realized that he still had me down as Dale, beer competition guy. From like a decade ago now, I think it was. That was like 2012, 2013. We had a beer competition as part of our big festival at the church. And I was still in there as Dale, beer guy, beer competition guy. And I had to think, I'm like, how do we do that? You know, because I ran that competition. And so he had won first place with another friend of ours. And then I actually got second place on that competition that time around. But yeah, he was updating and putting our address in. And he realized I'm still the beer guy.
That's so I mean, that is classic phones, right?
It's classic guy.
So actually, it's not that funny, but I was editing all of my contacts for this women's group that I'm leading because I wanted to be smart about starting a group chat. I think I was kind of smart about this. So before starting the group chat, I shared the contact files with each group member so they'd know who was at what phone number when we started this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, I kind of went back through my contacts and I had to change some of my names around for that exact reason. Because you start capturing people, like our next door neighbor is like her name and then her son's name, like parenthetically on the contact. Our across
and
the
mom.
street, our across the street neighbor is neighbor, fill in the blank, et cetera, because that's just how you end up meeting people. I have like so many contacts in my phone of blank mom.
Wow.
Yeah, or blank mom blank. Because
I don't have that.
I know that's more of a mom thing, but that's funny that you were Dale, beer competition guy for all of this time.
Yeah. I honestly don't know if I have his saved in mine. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not very good at
Well, if he's
using
listening, he knows who he is, and he can text you.
He can totally text me. I'll be like, who's this guy?
Text to Dale beer competition number.
That's right.
That is pretty funny.
Right? Well, I'm Dale.
I'm Kit.
Welcome to Catholic Hitch. We are a Catholic family seeking heaven and hoping to pick up others along the way.
Small talk. So...
Speaking of birthdays.
Yeah.
So this happens to be the birthday weekend for Jonathan and Christina.
Yeah, they were born on the same day,
I'm really tired.
9 years apart. It's been a long weekend, but
we'll
it's
talk
been,
about that.
Yeah, for more than just the birthdays.
Yeah, it was a good birthday, I think.
Yeah, it was very easy for me.
Yeah.
I was quite a fan.
Teenagers are a lot easier. You just get them food and they do their own thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and this was the first year I was like, all right, Christina, I'm going to introduce you to something called Evite. And she has contacts for all of her friends, so she set up her own Evite account. She
nice.
put the Evite together. She got it out to everyone. I just asked for a link and then parent phone numbers so I could follow up like with a text to the parents and say, hey, so Christina sent this party to your kiddos, but just FYI, we'd love for them to be there. But aside from that, yeah, we didn't have to do all that much. It was very nice.
Nope, it was very
And we
good.
did Jonathan's party about a month ago. For those of you who are regular listeners, that was our triple Nerf War party weekend. And so we had a chiller birthday weekend compared to normal. And you were off. We thought it was going to be a really bad weekend for you. Not bad. That
Busy.
Makes it, busy is the word. A good weekend, actually. Like a super good weekend, but busy and tiring. Do you want to explain?
You were tiring. That shouldn't be that funny. But
What?
It's tiring to me. Yeah. It's been a long weekend.
It has been.
Yeah, so
You got to do something that most architects who work
My
on church
first-
architecture dream of.
my first time that I've actually been the person that goes and presents to the parish. How's it going on the project? And this particular project is one of our ground up churches, which is wonderful. And we have a seed parish. And we started the project in 2019. And because of the city jurisdiction, we're still not done. And the neighbors. They didn't help either.
No.
But they were only exasperated because of the city.
You know, when Jesus asks us to love our neighbors, I'm pretty sure that those were the people he was thinking about when he called us to love them.
The NIMBYs and bananas?
The bananas and the NIMBYs.
Yeah, so NIMBYs, not in my backyard. That's what that stands for. Bananas, build absolutely nothing, nowhere, anytime. Banana. I learned that one from my last boss. Because they exist. They really do exist.
They do.
People who just don't, they get into their place and there's room for development. And they're like, why didn't more people have to move in here? It's perfect the way it is.
Perfect
After I moved it.
Yeah, I got here.
Yeah.
So everything can freeze now.
Right. So our pastor for that project, he's been going through some rough times. He recently lost a brother, and his literal brother. And he had to do the funeral for his brother the same day as the Mass. So he couldn't be at the Mass. So there was a visiting priest, and he's like, hey, can you cover this presentation of the update? Because otherwise, in any good pastoral way, he is a good pastor and shepherd of his community. And so the other Masses, he was the one that did all the announcements. Which, makes sense. It should be coming from your pastor to know what's going on in your parish.
But you announced something really specific, right? It wasn't just a project update.
Yeah. So this was really trying to help the parish understand where we are, because there hasn't been an update on the project in a year, because there really hasn't been that much movement in a year. The city... So the way this particular jurisdiction works, they want you to do all of the development for your entire property, and they don't care how big or how small you are. They want you to know to approve everything you're going to do if you're going to do anything with your land that isn't residential. And even when it is residential, and we're talking like a toll house or a big cookie cutter contractor build type development, they want to know everything for that as well. But the challenge is they want to know all of that from the staffing level, and then they say, hey, go have your neighborhood meeting, the tribute neighborhood meeting. Well, the problem is the neighborhood has had no information to date because it isn't required by the city to do so. Most jurisdictions say, hey, go meet with your neighborhood first, tell them you're going to do a project, work out some kinks, and then come back to us. They do it the opposite, at the last part of the process. So we get to the last part of the process, and the neighborhood didn't like it. And that was because the neighborhood, the city said, hey, you need to do transit-oriented development, which in itself isn't a bad thing. But this is a neighborhood and a community that's used to storage warehouses, dental offices, and houses. Yeah, and 7-Elevens. That's about it. That's all you can build. And so to put apartments in, no way. Deal breaker. And so when that deal breaker happened for them, they complained. And then all of city council said, you know what, we can't vote for this project. Hey, staff, go figure it out. And then staff came back and said, well, we really, really want transit-oriented development, but we have no way to enforce it, and we can't support your project. We're like, whoa. The Archdiocese has just spent about $250,000 to get to this point. And you're telling them that now, sorry? So that sorry took a year for them to turn around and say, yeah, you could go ahead and just do the church now, and you can rework your product and figure out a different way. But you can go ahead and do the church without telling us the rest of the information, as long as you provide the plat. So the plat document is basically the legal document that says you are going to separate your parcel into these pieces and say these utilities are going to be there, which gives them the bartering tool to say, all right, we know you're going to give us what we want as staff, transit-oriented development, in some capacity that will work with the neighborhood, and we'll let you do a church then. So the process went from doing all at once from 2020 to 2022 to get to that point, to wait all of 2022 now in 2023, and we're finally at a point of saying, all right, we know the path, we're going to submit to you, and now we're going to hurry up and wait for another year.
Yeah, but you also are anticipating a groundbreaking? Am I right about that?
Yes.
Wasn't that part of what you announced?
Yeah. So I gave you a little bit more of the detail than what I gave in my speech
Okay.
to the parish.
Oh, so I may have accidentally... Oh, look at all the chickens flittering through the yard with the wind. That was cute.
Yeah, so you got a little bit more information, but not by much. They already kind of knew that piece of it. And I told people who asked the question. But basically, we were able to say at this point, fall of 2024 will break ground. And first quarter of 2026, you'll be praying in your church. Which, it's 2023, so most people are like, you got to be kidding me. That takes forever. Why does it take so long? It's like, well, we still have another year with the city.
It's the bureaucracy of it.
It's gotten so bad after COVID. I mean, it's insane.
I would love to compliment you on your speech, because you did read it to me beforehand to practice.
I did want to make sure it sounded good.
So you wrote it all by yourself, and that's not easy for you to do. You just have a lot of constraints on your time, so that already is pretty amazing to me.
Yeah, it worked out.
And then
took my Saturday morning.
It did. So the church that is going to be built is going to be named for St. John Paul II.
Yes.
Pope St. John Paul II. So you referred to his love of the outdoors in your kind of speech.
Yes.
Spiel.
So the gist of it was that I said, in learning, honestly, that St. John Paul II, he loved hiking and skiing, and he was actually known to hike a mountain for around 5 hours sometimes, just to go ski down the other side for 10 minutes. And to relate it to hiking, the parish, it's kind of like they're climbing a 14er. They've got their team, they know what they need, but right now they're in the switchback zone where it's just monotonous and you just don't see that you're going anywhere and nothing really changes. But you can see the timberlines there. And then I relate it to, we're kind of at the timberline. We're still switchbacking. But hey, there's something happening here. And oh, by the way, you can see the summit. It's up there. And you know you're about to go have some fun, craggling on the rocks and get up there. And then you can go ski down the other side. That was, in a nutshell, how I related it, as in the analogy, with other metaphors thrown in there. But that was kind of the basic gist of it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I thought it, kind of worked out well. I prayed on it, and, I'm like, okay, if I ever become a deacon, I need to homilize. How could I do that? So I tried to create a homily. It was like a 5-minute homily. That's how
Except that it was in the appropriate time after the liturgies had closed and everything. So.
Yes, yeah. And the visiting priest, we worked with him before on other projects, and he actually, he has done 3 capital campaign projects in his time as a pastor. Yeah. Now he's a retired priest. But when I go up to the AMBO, because they don't have a lectern, he went ahead and said, we're going to clap now for Dale because I know what he's going through. I've been through 3 of these. He's working hard. So everybody clapped. And then that gave me a moment to say, wow, thanks, Father. That's it's very nice. I was hoping for applause at the end, but I'll take it at the beginning. Why not? Which kind of ice broke everybody and helped. But yeah, so I
wish I could have gone, but
there was too much.
There was too much.
Yeah, so Friday night I did that presentation, and then
Saturday night
I did the presentation. Friday, Sunday, Sunday, Father did the other 2 for the feast day because today is the feast of St. John Paul II.
Yeah, it was very fitting.
Yeah, worked out, and everybody was very happy about the way the project is coming together, and this is the first weekend that they actually saw what the interior would look like. So a lot of good things are moving. It's gonna be a hurry up and wait situation again.
Indeed.
But there's just nothing we can do about that. It is what it is.
It is.
Yeah. Big talk.
Big talk. So I've been wanting you to kind of gather together some data so that we can make an official big talk on what is called Healthshare ministries.
Yeah.
So if you listen to any kind of a Christian radio or Catholic radio, you'll hear periodic commercials from different health shares. And I don't know, I'll let you share if you want to, like our specific one. But the idea is that instead of paying like for a big health insurance company, you go through this network where everyone pools a monthly contribution toward others' expenses.
Yeah.
And we went this direction when you changed jobs. So we've been doing this for about, would be 5 years now?
Yeah, 5 years.
So I think we have a lot of really strong context in order to provide some information about how this actually works, because we've done some procedures, we've had a baby and everything else. So with that said, I wanted you to take over.
Yeah. So you missed one of the most important parts about a health share, at least when it's a ministry. So with health sharing ministry, you treat it like tithing. So when you tithe and you give an amount, 10% of your income, that's a scary thing to do in modern society. You're like, wait, no, I need to give this, And Father was actually talking about this today for his homily for treasure, because at our parish it's our weekend of treasure and getting ready to make a commitment
for
in our
stewardship.
And so he talked to us about the fact that, when he started, before he was a priest, he'd go to church and he'd be like, hey, what's in my pocket? Oh, I'll give $3, sure. And then as he grew in his faith, he got to the point, it's like, before Mass, hey, what am I going to give? I got $10, I'll put it in today. And then as he grew and grew and grew, eventually got to the point of saying, okay, well, I can give $20 a month, sure, not a problem. And, as you grow in your faith, it's scary to think, all right, I need to commit to this. It's not just discretionary funding. This is just something that needs to come out. And, all of our funding, all the money we get, it's all from God. It's a gift from God. So it's His anyways. And so we should give back. And so with Samaritan, it's a similar kind of act where, the health programs that we have out there, insurance that we have out there, has basically said, this is the only way that you can do this. You have to pay premiums, and you're going to have co-pays, and you're going to have all these deductibles, and you're going to be in network and all of these. Yeah, you got to have all these things in order to have health care. And, oh, by the way, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, because the medical industry is just really expensive. This is really expensive stuff, which is all a lie. But you don't know that when you're going into a health sharing ministry. You're like, okay, I'm about to go in and I'm going to pay less, and somehow you're going to pay my bills when something happens. How's this going to work? And so my boss, actually, we found out from him, he was doing it, and he kind of talked through the process. And when he said, okay, God, we're going to give this up to you. I'm making this commitment to work in a faith-based firm, a firm that is doing sacred architecture. I'm going to give to the church. And so we said, well, all right, we'll do this with our health insurance as well. And so before I started working at where I'm at, we had Jonathan, and he had RSV, and the bills for that were immense. Like, just immense. He was in the children's ICU for a week or more. And like it's basically like 12 grand a day just to be in there. So all that adds up, plus all of the specialists that, come in and check and make sure that his O2 is okay and whack on his chest, and then you got an anesthesiologist and all the blah, 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 blah. They all add up, right? Because they all have their piece of this pie, and it all has to go through their admin people who are going to have to know how to read this language of codes in order to then bill this stuff. And then the insurance company says, yes, if you did the paperwork right, we will give you the money. And then you pay as the user, right? So I think on that particular instance, we paid over $10,000, and that was our copay, our
It was
cap,
like the
top
family
cap.
maximum.
Yeah.
Is what we
for
hit.
our family. It was $10,000 family maximum. It was a hard hit. The whole thing was a hard hit. Just the sheer fact that we were going through that. So we made this shift to Samaritan, saying, okay, God, what's going to happen if something like that happens again? And when you know it, it was about 2 years after working in my current firm that Terrence had a hernia, and he needed surgery.
Like okay, emergency.
Okay, we're going to have to figure this out. So every month for 2 years, we've been giving our share of, like, let's say $500 a month into this ministry. And we know the people who are going to receive the money. We pray for them because they're going through hardships, pregnancies, cancers, you name it, just all kinds of stuff, broken arms, all that stuff. And so we've been praying for these people through this. And now here it comes, we've got an expense. So it's our turn, right? So we go in and we get the surgery for Terrence. And the thing is with the health sharing ministry, it doesn't matter where you go. You choose. You ask, hey, I'm a direct pay patient. How much is it going to cost? And they have to give you the direct amount. Because, by the way, when it doesn't have to go through admin and they know you're going to pay them right away, they cut almost every one of them 30% right off the top.
Yeah.
30% of that cost knocked right off. And that's before you do anything else. Like to say, well, let me look at what these services are. Nope, I don't need this service. I don't need this follow-up. I don't need these 5 follow-ups. I don't, you understand your own body and you know your needs. And so you're able to work with them and say, all right, this is what I'm going to pay for, and this is what I want you to do. And they go, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And so we go in to Children's Hospital, get Terrence taken care of. Now, the bills, when they come in, would have normally been about $25,000. So take right off the top the 30% off. And so we're paying, like, let's say $17,000 of that out of pocket. So it required us to have savings or to get on a monthly plan with the hospital to take care of these bills. And while that's happening, we're submitting those bills to the health sharing ministry and saying, hey, this cost us, after we tried to be frugal and prudent with these dollars, $17,000 to go and have him taken care of and all the things, the emergency room because he had a hernia and we weren't expecting it. All of that happens. And so then it goes into the system. The requests go out for this need that has just come up. And now all these other people are giving their shares to us. So at the end of the day, after he's had a hernia, we're not out of pocket $17,000. We're out of pocket $500.
So that
period
was like the effectual copay almost.
That was the effectual
$500
$500
for major surgery.
And we're paying, and now it's like $660 after we've had to do a couple of increases after COVID because more people got sick, less people were going to the hospital, so now everybody was going after COVID, and so the prices got higher, inflation, all that stuff. But in the end, it's not just that, hey, we only paid $500 out. It's also we received all the prayer and all the graces that these people are asking for intercession for us to help in our family.
Yeah.
You don't get that with medical care. You get, hey, here's your bills, and oh, by the way, I'm going to send you the same bill 5 times because apparently I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to send it to you again because I think you haven't paid. Oh, wait, it's not you that pay me. It's your insurance. Hey, can you ask your insurance to pay this bill? Right? None of that. It's just go pay your bill, then receive back from it.
Yeah, and we've been through, at this point, 3 major events. So that was our first major event, and yeah, it did not cost us very much at all.
Yeah.
And we could have done a payment plan with the hospital, but we had the amount that we were able to just pay it off with the hospital and then recover through these monthly, payments from a lot of different people, the money that we needed to recover. The second major event was probably the breath holder, which was Julia. So we had a baby on Healthshare.
Actually, I think that was the third, unless we didn't need to use health sharing for when Johnny cracked open his face on vacation.
We didn't do it.
We didn't have to do it because we didn't need to.
There was a miracle. Yes.
That's right. There was a miracle.
There was.
So we said we don't need that.
Yeah.
So again,
we were expecting
but we're financially in a good place because we're not paying thousands of dollars out of pocket every month out of our paychecks.
Yeah. For
insurance.
So the way that we approached Samaritan Ministries is we are paying others, and that is part of our premium. And the other part of our premium is we do have to put kind of enough money aside. And for a while we did this directly into a special savings account. We switched banks. We didn't preserve that special savings account. But you have to kind of have a number each month of like, this is my premium. Because one of the things that you need to do is you pay for just your wellness checks and shots and pharmacy out of pocket. And that can be a pretty big hit depending upon what you're doing. And so when we run the math, it always comes up as cheaper for us to just continue to pay for those expenses and not rely on insurance to pay for them.
Right.
You have to be prepared to go into a doctor's office and say, I'm a self-pay patient. I have actually gone with our family to the county health services to get shots.
Yes.
Because if you don't have insurance, it's a little bit of extra work, and they're not as delicate with the shots in the pediatric area as our pediatrician would be. But babies can barely remember this stuff, and it saves our family quite a lot of money.
Yes.
So there's a little bit more like hoops for me to have to go through.
Well, it's the same time
but it is
when I did
still
blood
a better
work.
Savings.
So I go to our doctor and I'm like, hey, I'm getting up there in age. I need to go ahead and get my health check done. He's like, hey, we'll do everything in house, but I'm just gonna let you know, if you go through us to do your blood work, it's gonna cost $1,200 for us to draw 4 vials of blood and have them tested. There is a health fair that's coming up here in a couple months. Go do that. They'll do your whole blood panel. They'll do all the workup, and it'll cost $100. And then have them send us the information. We'll check and make sure everything's good. Great.
Yeah.
So I go and do a health fair, and then send the information to our doctor, and we're fine.
Yeah.
Instead of $1,200, it was $1,000, or $100.
Yeah. So it's been actually really good. It was a breath-holding decision to move to Healthshare. So yeah, we went through Terrence with a hernia surgery. We had Julia. We gave birth on Healthshare.
Yes. And that actually was amazing.
Yes. That was a lot better than
birth giving was amazing for you especially. But the hospital that we went to is a Catholic hospital. And so when we go to Children's and we've had emergencies there, 30% off max. And then there's some, federal funding things you can go try to do. When we went to this hospital, it was, I don't even know. It was like 60% off by the time, or 80% off.
90% off.
90% off.
Of the actual room board hospital services.
Yeah,
they
wrote it
discounted
off.
so much.
It was amazing.
Because we don't have insurance technically.
Right. And because we have a family of 7.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, well, with that family size, we can write this off. No problem. We got you taken care of. Don't worry about a thing.
Yeah.
So on top of the fact that we're doing the health sharing ministry, here was this great sense of generosity from this hospital when we have our kid. You know, I
And
mean,
that
it's just amazing.
it wasn't necessarily saving us money, but it saved the other
Well, it saves the ministry
partners,
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
and who are, contributing toward our expenses,
Right.
waiting for their own contribution if, that need arises.
Yeah, because there's others out there that don't have that luxury, and they're going to a place, let's say it's Pfizer, a Pfizer run place, or a Kaiser Permanente or something like that. That's where they have to go, and they're saying, well, we'll give you 25% off
Yeah.
of, $200,000 worth of bills for something. It was a blessing that happened. But then in parallel, we had the COVID scare with Julia, and 1 day in the hospital. So in the end, for
Right.
for giving birth,
Yeah.
that cost was like $5,000 all in.
Yeah, to our family.
To our family.
Wait, no.
That we
to our
that
we
we paid
shared.
and shared.
Yeah.
$5,000. That was it. That's all I had to report.
What did we have to pay?
$500.
Okay. Yeah. See,
Plus,
I want to contextualize
$500
this for people.
plus we did pay out of our own pocket for like when you needed a prescription or something. I didn't bill that.
Yeah.
But it did cover for every time you went to a doctor's visit. All that was just tallied over the
Yeah.
whole 9 months plus the delivery. So
And I
maybe,
was I was advanced maternal age with
Right.
Julia, so that meant I had a lot more ultrasounds and a lot more. I did not do the genetic testing kind of stuff because it wouldn't have mattered one way or the other. But you just have a lot more ultrasounds, and you have stress tests and things or non-stress tests, I guess is what they're called.
So, yeah.
There's a lot more procedures that I went through that would have made this pregnancy on insurance more expensive than our
Right.
other pregnancies on insurance, but in the end, this was the cheapest birth that we have ever had.
Oh yeah, for sure.
any of our
Hands
children.
down, out of pocket, better than any other experience we've ever had.
Yeah.
And-
So that was like amazing.
Yeah,
And,
and then-
that was a breath holder. We weren't sure what it was going to be like because
No.
we've had babies and we know it's expensive, and our copays
Yes, copay.
have been really high with a lot of these babies
Oh yeah.
that we've had. So this was our
Yeah.
cheapest
3 to
one.
5 grand out of pocket,
And
easy.
So I did get through without an epidural, and I did that in part because I wanted to I wasn't sure if it would be shareable as an expense, and I wanted to try to do something if it was. Like, I can bear the pain just like the mothers of ancient times, and I did. And I'd never done that before. So I was very proud of myself.
You did amazing.
I got through without like a very expensive pain intervention, and I had a very healthy baby and was healthy afterward. Now we had 1/3 episode, which was, I don't think we talked about it on the podcast. So when Julia was 23 days, she had a fever and no other symptoms. But we called the doctor and we're like, hey, what's the Tylenol dosage for her? And the doctor said the Tylenol dosage is go to the ER.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's baby 5. Can we just like come into the doctor? And to be fair, like, our doctor tried to find anything wrong with Julia that would explain a high temperature. But they could not. Like,
Yeah.
they looked for urinary tract infection, all the stuff. Anything that they could just write a script for antibiotics and then send us home with the Tylenol dosage. But instead we did end up having to go to a children's ER. We had to be admitted, and it ended up being a positive COVID test. And she had no symptoms except a high fever, but we had to spend the night at the hospital. And this is at a secular, or I guess like it's a university teaching hospital.
Yeah, it's a children's hospital.
Yeah.
They specialize in children's medicine. Great. I mean, that's where you want to be if something's going to go wrong with your kid, because most hospitals don't know what to do on that front.
Yeah.
So it's the right place to be, but at the same time, they don't care.
Oh, as far as like us not having
as far as
insurance
the
or
admin
anything.
and things like that, they're like, that's nice. We'll give you the 30%. That's the max out. You can go talk to our financial advisement groups. And then when I talked to them, said, hey, we're a family that we have X amount of income coming in, and we have 7 people in the family. They're like, yeah, that's nice. You still don't qualify. You would have to be, I think what they told me, a family of 7 would have to be making about $50,000 to $60,000 annually, and then you would cover financial aid. I'm like, whoa, that's really low. That's pretty crazy. And they're like, yeah, we have lots of families like that. I'm like, oh, okay. That's,
I mean, in a way,
wild.
like, they should get that extra help. But it is,
Right.
it's silly how bloated the what would you call it, like the medical industrial complex. I think is the negative way to refer to like all of the hospitalization of our culture.
Think of
There's
our
a lot of
pharmaceuticals.
bloat. Well, oh no, let me describe what happened at the hospital. Is like we got into the ER and they drained every fluid from Julia to try to identify what it was. So she had to get like baby catheter, baby IV put in for blood squirt. Oh wait, no, they didn't tap her spine. Because I said, please don't tap
we
her
said
spine.
no. And this is again where, had we not been on a health sharing ministry, we would have probably said, do whatever you need to do. It's covered by insurance. Just take care of our baby. But because we've had to have a little bit of savviness and understanding, wait, no, that costs a lot of money. Why would you need to do that? And so we've had to learn a little bit more.
Well, for me, I
about
didn't
the
want to
health
see
system.
my baby
And then
girl
too,
get a
yeah, absolutely.
spinal tap.
I was a hell no. We're not getting a spinal tap on a 23-month-old baby, or week-old baby,
And actually,
day-old baby. Come on, Dale.
So we went through some tough times with Jonathan. As we have shared.
We've talked
and
about
because
that,
of that experience with Julia going to the hospital, getting wheeled into the ER or to the
it
inpatient
was a
area,
flashback.
it was a flashback for me. And I think when we knew, like when the test came back positive for COVID, if I had not been through that RSV experience with Jonathan, I probably, since we have a lot of agency in our healthcare decisions on Healthshare, I probably would have said, no, please, what
Just
would that
give
be?
our
Dismiss
child
us?
Tylenol.
Not dismiss
Tylenol.
us. Discharge us.
Well,
Say, please discharge us.
That was the other
and
part
we
of
will
it.
watch her.
Because it was COVID, you can't be discharged. They hold you hostage because they have to monitor you now.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay, well.
Otherwise, we would have gone home.
would
I
have
would have said,
fought
great,
it.
give us Tylenol. We know what it is. It's COVID. She'll be done with it in 2 days.
Yeah.
We'll monitor. If anything goes bad, we'll come back.
Well, and so, we had the people draw the fluids. We got up into the room where there's the very, sweet overnight nursing team of these young gals. But I'm the one that's, literally taking care of Julia overnight, changing her diapers, doing all the stuff. I'm up with her all night in a hospital situation because, baby's not comfortable. And, we're discharged the next day kind of early. What was the final cost before Healthshare on the bill for just an overnight with COVID with our baby?
Just the hospital bill?
Well, no, for just all in on that COVID. Do you remember?
All in
I think I remember.
for that bill, I want to say was somewhere in the ballpark of $17,000.
Yeah.
It might have been more. Actually,
And they
I think it was more than that.
discounted us a little bit.
That was our fee after.
That was after, okay.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So that was also shareable, and I was actually holding my breath because we had literally just had a baby on healthcare, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now we're gonna submit another share. Are they gonna cover this?
Yeah.
I was very apprehensive. So what was our final cost? Because it was shareable.
Well,
all
and
of that.
that's the weird thing. So because of where we are in a society right now, we were at that cusp of having to have a vote to say we need to increase the health share per month of everyone so that we can cover all of the costs. So the way that Samaritan has handled that is, hey, this month we can't cover all of your needs. So we're going to give you a deduct on your monthly bill. So they would give us a $300 or $500 deduct on our share out to people to help cover and manage all the costs. So in the end, we didn't get let's say it was 17 grand. We didn't get 17 grand back.
Yeah, what did we get back?
But we didn't pay out any more than we normally would have. I just wasn't paying a monthly bill to help share with other people as much. It was a $200 share.
Okay.
Instead.
Yes, so knowing that we were basically paying ourselves a little bit, do you know what it was?
I want to say, I think at the end, but with all the deductions when they finally got around, it was like $13,000 or $14,000 is how much we paid out of pocket, and we got all that back.
Okay, so it was covered.
Yeah, it was all covered.
Okay, but so we know to our family it was $500 with Julia. So what was it to our family?
$500.
$500. Okay, I just wanted to get to that number.
Yeah.
Because
$650 now.
Okay. So we talk about this because we've gone through quite a long time on Healthshare, and I think that until you have that assurance, if you have a choice between insurance and Healthshare, you're probably going to choose insurance because you want that quote unquote peace of mind. But we're here to talk about Healthshare really working very well and being something. It's been great as we've had any shares out there, we get cards back from people
Yes.
saying how they're praying for us.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yep.
You don't get that on insurance, and it's
No.
financially so much better.
Yes.
You have to be smart about it, and you have to be willing to go through a little bit of extra effort.
Yeah.
But when we moved over to your job and we were looking at going into like a small pool insurance, like on our own, and then Healthshare was, told to us, I think we took a risk on Healthshare, just kind of holding our breath.
Yeah.
And hoping that it would actually work out. The promise that had been made to us in the pitch was going to be fulfilled. And I think we can sit here 5 years in and say that promise that they make to you, they meet that promise.
Yeah. So there's one caveat to this. Depends on what state you live in. So in your blue states, they fight tooth and nail to get rid of it because they don't want you to have it. They have the Obamacare system.
So what don't we pay for with Healthshare?
I don't know.
We don't pay for abortions.
Oh, that's true.
We don't pay for
Yes.
contraception.
Yes.
We don't pay for anti-life health care.
Correct.
So those are the things that we do not pay for others. So that expense is not shared with us.
And should say that, okay, let's say you went out with your friends and you had a few drinks, and then you go get in an accident and you kill someone or you maim someone. Well, that's not covered under
Well,
the
that's
Healthshare
different. If you're hurting someone else, that would be your
but
auto insurance.
No, even
No. What if
your health
yourself?
coverage is not covered under Samaritan because you make a pledge that you will not go out and imprudently drink. You
Yes.
will not imprudently just go and be a chain smoker.
But you just talked about that you got in a car and hit someone else and hurt them.
Yeah, that's covered by insurance.
I know. So let me just go back.
Yeah. Clarify for me.
I'm
I'm being hyperbolic. I know.
No, you're not being hyperbolic. You're being imprecise.
That's a good word for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very
so
good at that
if
today.
you were to go out on a binger or a drug binger and you were to walk into the street, or heck, what if you became like a closet alcoholic and you're predisposed genetically to incur great liver damage, and you suddenly have liver disease, but it's literally because of the drinking.
Yeah,
And
that would not be covered.
So, and that's the kind of situation I think it'd be fairly litigious, and I'm not sure how Samaritan would approach it.
Yes.
But the idea is that
isn't-
you're taking care of yourself and you're being a good
Yes.
Christian human being, and you're not sinning.
You're living by the commandments.
I mean, everyone sins.
That's the thing, is you're living by the commandments, and you are being an honorable, faithful Christian. If you are doing that, then you're covered.
yeah.
But if you're not doing that, then you're not covered. So caveats, there's a couple, and even here in Colorado, we've had to fight our local government because our local government has tried at least 3 or 4 different times to take away health sharing and call it a taxable company, or say that it's not allowed at all and then you have to have insurance.
Yeah. So, and
this
that
is
comes
bought by
from,
lobbyists.
Yeah, big healthcare
Pharma.
lobbyists. Yeah, pharma and just the industrial healthcare complex.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
don't want
also-
this. It's taking away their money.
But the other thing that it often comes down to in blue states like ours is that we are not funding abortions.
Yes, that's
And,
the biggest part of it. which,
quote unquote, women's health care is not covered, which again, it's not freaking health care
Right.
to have free access to abortions.
Yeah.
But others would agree to disagree.
well, we're always the forefront of that. I mean, the Sisters for Life dealt with it. You got that baker here locally that
the website designer.
Yeah, the website designer.
We
got a lot of
originates
targets
in Colorado.
We got a lot of targets here because people don't want that. The secular society doesn't understand it. It goes against the governmental religion that says abortion is good, have anything you want when you want it, and as long as you can do it, you should do it. Even though that's not what our government says. Like if you read the foundation, the founding fathers, that's not what they say. But that's what is the new propaganda. So yeah, not to get political too much, but there you have it. So Samaritan and other health sharing ministries, good. Just got to check your state.
Yeah.
Know where you
It's
live.
something just be aware of, especially if you need to change jobs, if you're going to lose healthcare benefits to make a job decision, and that's a factor that you're evaluating. You might be able to check out some of these Healthshare companies, and we can, promise you from our experience that it's been a great experience, and they've really come through for our family many times.
Yeah.
And oddly, again, been somehow cheaper than us doing insurance. So I think that's all that we wanted to share.
That's it. If you got any thoughts, catholichitch@gmail.com.
May the Lord guide us and direct our journey.
Amen.
Boop-a-doop-a-doop.